AITA for not wanting to pay for my son's dentist? Story 1. My ex-wife Lena and I have a son, Matt 6M, and I have 50/50 custody. We don't have such a healthy co-parenting. We avoid each other most of the time and everything in relation to the routine, and Matt, we resolve it through an app. All expenses related to our son, such as school, doctors, and others, we split 50/50. I'm a dentist, to be clear. And until last year, before we separated, I took care of my son about this. Recently, she sent a message to me through the app, letting me know that the dentist appointment was X amount and for us to pay 50/50. I asked if something emergency had happened. She said no, just routine, and I asked why she didn't just let me know and I would take care of it. Her response was that now she has her own dentist and went through him, since our kid was with her and would be more easy. I agreed, but asked what the point of, because it would literally be free if it was done by me. She kind of snapped me and said she expected payment from me. I replied that I would see, because I don't refuse to pay anything for Matt, especially for health reasons, but a stupid expense like that doesn't make sense, and she can afford it if she simply prefers to pay for something that I do for free. She was not happy. She said that this was an expense for our son that we agreed to share, and I was refusing to do so, considering that I am his father, and that she was not obliged to choose me as a dentist. We do have an agreement to split 50/50, but for me, this is the most absurd expense she had charged me, because I would understand if it was something emergency or outside my specialty, but a routine appointment. AITA? Our advice. Navigating shared expenses and co-parenting can be challenging, especially when there's tension between parents. In this situation, both you and Lena have valid points. On your side, it's understandable to question the necessity of paying for a routine dental appointment when you're a dentist yourself and have historically taken care of such matters for your son. From your perspective, it seems redundant and unnecessary to pay for a service that you could provide for free. It's also reasonable to feel frustrated that Lena didn't communicate with you beforehand, especially if she knew you could have handled it. However, Lena's perspective shouldn't be dismissed either. As co-parents with a 50/50 custody arrangement, it's generally expected that both parties contribute equally to the financial responsibilities of raising the child. From her point of view, the cost of the appointment is a shared expense, regardless of whether you could provide the service for free. She may also feel that she has the right to choose her own healthcare providers for your son, even if you are a dentist. Ultimately, the key to resolving this conflict lies in effective communication and compromise. It might be helpful to have a calm and respectful discussion with Lena about your concerns and come to a mutually agreeable solution. This could involve discussing future medical expenses beforehand to avoid misunderstandings, or finding a compromise where you cover certain medical expenses while Lena covers others. In conclusion, while your frustration is understandable, it's important to consider Lena's perspective and work towards finding a resolution that prioritizes your son's well-being and maintains a cooperative co-parenting relationship. So in this situation, you're not necessarily the asshole NTA, but it would be beneficial to approach the issue with empathy and a willingness to find common ground. First comment, NTA. Even if she doesn't, unless Op is insanely shitty at his job or as a parent, I cannot see a judge siding with Mom on this unilateral decision and forcing Op to pay for half. I have a terrible co-parenting relationship with my daughter's father because of his behavior, but when his wife, who works in an orthodontist's office, offered to have her doctors take over care so we'd have to pay almost nothing, I jumped at the opportunity. Saved me money, kiddo still got great care, and so what that I had to put up with his behavior more. It was the best option. Second comment. YT. Clearly this will be a disliked comment, but no parent should provide healthcare, mental health care, eye exams, or dental care as a professional to their children or other family members. All true professional healthcare providers know this. The potential for emotional damage is only one of the reasons. I guess no one on this thread is a professional, or you guys would have heard this already. I'm wondering if it isn't part of the code of ethics for providers of healthcare. If I were your ex-wife, I would contact the governing and licensing board for dentists in your state and ask them if there isn't a prohibition or at least advice against family members treating each other, even for routine care. This is a bad situation for the entire family, and Op should stop, suck it up, and pay his half with a smile. Story 2. AITA for refusing to bring materials to my stepdaughter so she can do schoolwork while recovering from surgery? I 40F married my husband when my stepdaughter Elise 17F was 6 years old. I met Elise when she was just 3. My husband and Elise's mom had been divorced since Elise was a few months old. Elise's mother was already married to someone else when I met my husband. To make a very long story short, Elise's mother started to hate me during my engagement to my husband. Her husband at the time hit on me in front of my husband and his ex. For some reason she blamed me and not him. Then a few months later and days before our wedding, she learned he had cheated on her multiple times. I was blamed for this. This led to parental alienation, which my husband and I tried to end and attempted to prevent it from working on Elise. But it worked very well. Elise was brainwashed by her mom to be as unkind to me as possible. This unkindness turned into some very bad moments where she pretended not to know me while we were out, even once or twice when my husband was with us and had stepped away. She also refused to acknowledge her half-siblings as any kind of siblings. She has always called herself an only child. She looked me in the eye and wished me dead on 2 separate occasions. Apparently her mom wished for the same thing. When Elise was 13, a big fight played out in court, but ultimately Elise's wishes were heard, and she went to live with her mom full-time. She sees my husband 2 Saturdays a month as ordered by the courts. Occasionally she will see me or her half-siblings while out, and she is as unkind as ever to me when she sees me. Elise had surgery a week and a half ago. She won't be back at school for a few weeks yet. They have been emailing on work for her to do, but Thursday they had some materials to send to her home so she could complete certain projects. I was near the school and was asked by my husband's mother to pick up the materials for Elise. Elise's mother also told me to do it. She did not ask. I told them I felt it would be better for someone else to collect them, seeing as my presence is so unwanted. I told my mill that I knew I would be facing disrespect the second I got to Elise and her mom's house. Mill told me I just proved to Elise that I don't care about her at all, and I never loved her unconditionally as a parent when I wouldn't sacrifice for her. AITA? Day, our advice. Navigating a situation like this is incredibly challenging, and it sounds like there's a history of complex emotions and strained relationships involved. It's understandable that you might feel hesitant to put yourself in a situation where you anticipate being met with disrespect and unkindness, especially considering the history you've described. Your decision not to pick up the materials for Elise wasn't made out of a lack of care for her, but rather out of concern for your own well-being in what you anticipated would be a difficult and potentially hostile environment. It's important to prioritize your own emotional health and boundaries, especially in situations where you've consistently faced mistreatment. That said, it's also understandable that others might interpret your decision differently, particularly if they're viewing it solely through the lens of what's best for Elise. While it's important to consider her needs, it's also crucial to consider your own boundaries and well-being. Perhaps you could explain your decision to your husband and his family, emphasizing that it wasn't a rejection of Elise but rather a recognition of your own emotional limits. You might also explore alternative ways to support Elise during her recovery that feel more comfortable for you, such as offering to help in ways that don't involve direct interaction with her or her mother. Ultimately, it's a complex situation with no easy answers, and it's important to approach it with empathy for all involved, including yourself. You're not the villain here, but rather someone navigating a difficult situation as best you can. First comment. They, NTA, absolutely not. You tried everything since she was a young age and you have received nothing but disrespect for years. Then, the ex-wife tried to demand you to do it after years of alienation by them and total BS from the stepdaughter. She's 17, not some little kid. She will be an adult in less than a year. I disagree with the people commenting that you should just bring it over in the belief it will show you are the better person. I say anyone who believes that after all these years of what you went through are either doormats in real life or just want you to paint you as the evil stepmom. I'm sorry that Mill and ex-wife just want to use you out of convenience and Mill is trying to emotionally manipulate you. BTW, I hope if Elise ever gets married, you and your husband do not foot any of the cost. Good luck. Bauna, second comment. Day, NTA. Day. Here's the thing, you are not a parent to Elise. You actually have no relationship to Elise at this point. Elise does not even acknowledge the existence of your children. The adults in Elise's life have ensured you have zero relationship to Elise. At this point, you do not even have a relationship as a step-parent. They're asking you to do a favor for someone who doesn't want you there at all. In one case, has demanded you do a favor. Your Mill can ask, but I think your Mill needs a come-to-Jesus moment here. You are not Elise's parent. You have tried to build a relationship with Elise. Your relationship with Elise was undermined by the adults in Elise's life. The two of you seeing each other is not something either of you actually wants. Your husband's ex presumably has other people and family in her life and can ask another adult if she cannot. This isn't exactly something only you can do, and it was kind of weird of them to ask you TBH. Did your husband volunteer you or something? This is also something he should be arranging for his kid. Its weird request came from Mill, not husband, in the first place.